Hey guys, welcome back to Salt and Cincy. This is episode 2. Super excited about this episode. My name is Andrew Maloney. I'm a local real estate agent and a Cincinnati hype man. So I am here today with Samantha Stewart and Grandma Debbie of Findlay Market, and we're talking one of my favorite holidays, opening day. I mean, how long have you guys been involved with the parade committee? Like, how did you get involved with the parade committee in Findlay Market?
Yeah, for sure. I think I'll let Debbie take this one.
Yeah.
Well, I have been a Findlay Market shopper since, 30 years plus. But I became a business owner in 2005. And so the following year, I was like, what can I do to help with the parade? And they're like, oh, well, I'll let you know. And kept bugging him. And finally, Jeff Gibbs said, I'll teach you how to do the computer stuff. I said, great. That's what I've been doing, most of my adult life. So in 2007 or so, I started taking over the database and maintaining the information and helping with the lineup and that kind of stuff.
All the fun stuff.
I made him sit with me 2 years in a row. And finally he said, you got this. And he walked away.
It's all on you.
He was there
And
if I needed, I could go to him with questions, which was helpful.
Nice.
He's not far away.
Right.
No, yeah, not far from you. Yeah, you see him
exactly.
every day.
Right.
Yeah. And my opening day history kind of started when I was at Washington Park.
Okay.
So I was the event manager there. So
nice.
I think it was like 2017 was the first official one where I was kind of boots on the ground at a venue and kind of watching the parade go down Race Street was so cool. And then something called COVID hit and events were kind of put on hold. And I ended up starting at Findlay Market that December of 2020.
Okay.
And the first parade I saw from Findlay was just one singular fire truck going down Race Street during COVID.
I remember that, yeah.
And it was snowing. It was a little sad, but like cool at the same time. But that was my first parade with Findlay. And then the next year, a few of us from the Corporation for Findlay Market joined in officially on the opening day parade committee. So we started and kind of jumped in 2022 and started learning from Debbie and Neil and Kevin about the lineup and the application process and all of that fun stuff. And so we've been a part of it kind of officially since 2022.
Okay.
And helping kind of with
Thank
all
God.
the logistics and everything. Because there's a lot that goes on. I mean, who knew until you're in it how much work it takes to put on a parade this size?
I think people underestimate the work that goes into it. It's a huge undertaking for you guys. So a little bit of going back in history, back in time. This is the 106th opening day parade.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, which is nuts.
I know. A little bit of history. How did it, what made Cincinnati want to have this parade? And how did we get to where we are today to where it's this huge celebration?
Yeah, it's crazy. It was a lot of fun. I've been reading up on it and kind of nerding out over history. It's always so nice here in Cincinnati because we have such a rich history in general, but reading about opening day and all of the things that I've learned over the years with the parade was Cincinnati Reds. The Red Stockings were the first official baseball team in 1869. Okay. So we were it was always a little bit of a rumor now that I'm finding out that we were getting the first game of the season every single year because we were the first team, the first official team. I always thought that was very true, and turns out in my research it's maybe not so true.
It should be true.
But as a Cincinnatian, we're going to believe that forever.
Absolutely,
we deserve the first game, so that's what we get.
100%.
But what they kind of started doing was back in the day with the streetcar trolleys, they would put the teams on the trolleys and kind of parade them around the city on the trolleys the day of the game. So they would have the Cincinnati Red Stockings on one and say, the team from Chicago on the other. They'd ride around the city for about an hour. Then they'd go eat lunch together at a hotel downtown. And then they'd come back up to Union Grounds, which was the first official, the baseball stadium was Union Grounds, which is by what is now Union Terminal. Okay. And they'd play the game. So that was kind of before the Findlay Market opening day parade. So it kind of started that way. Okay. And then as time kind of passed and people got more and more excited about these Red Stockings baseball games, there were a bunch of different rooter groups is what they called it, which is like kind of modern day FC Pride. Oh yeah. How all the different FC kind of clubs get together like at Northern Row and marched, to the stadium. Yeah. That's what a lot of Cincinnatians did back in those days. And throughout, between the 1870s up until about 1919, which was the first official parade, which was really just a pub crawl from Findlay Market to
Still kind of is for
yeah,
people. Some people,
exactly.
yeah.
For some people, yeah. So that's so the rooter groups would kind of meet all over town, and Findlay Market just kind of started growing the biggest one. So
Okay.
1919 was, they put a couple carnations on a car and made an official parade down to Union Grounds or Crossley Field, and kind of went from there. So 1920 is the first official parade, is what kind of they called it in my research, at least with the news stations. That was like the first time that it was covered in the newspapers.
Okay.
Was 1920, and then from then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. It's always been kind of a grassroots situation. You're not going to see, a 4-block long Snoopy
Right.
like you might see at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, but you see a bunch of other cool stuff, like a bunch of, we've always had politicians. We've had a lot of, flatbeds that people dress up into floats and boats and fire trucks and all this cool stuff. So over time, it has gotten much bigger than just one singular car going from Findlay Market to the stadium.
And is that how Findlay Market became involved then for that
Yes.
supporter group being the last, I guess, standing
Yes.
supporter group? I know now you have the Rosie Reds, which was later involved as a rooters group, but
Yes,
Findlay
yeah.
Market is still the longest standing, I
Yeah,
guess, right?
Absolutely. So a group of Findlay Market merchants have always organized this parade. So since the inception of the Findlay Market opening day parade, it has always been a group of Findlay Market shoppers, supporters, and family members that have been in charge of this whole thing. So we've seen it grow from, a couple vehicles to now we've seen it go over 200 entries, and now we're kind of back. We're kind of back to about 160, 170 is what we've got it to this year.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's always been the Findlay Market opening day parade. So it's really cool to kind of have these two longstanding institutions in Cincinnati working together for the biggest day of the year.
Absolutely. Now, Debbie, like, you plan a lot of this. This is all on
Yes.
you. A big undertaking. How does it feel personally to be involved in this such rich tradition that the city has? What do you feel about that? Is it just another day, or?
No, I am honored to be involved in this.
Yeah.
And like last year was one of the first ones where she was super involved in it, the high that you're on when it's over.
That is very
I'm
true.
exhausted,
Yeah.
but that it's just, and this is a tiny little sidebar, but I almost every year, because we have, cops that are kind of around the area. And when they stop by my store, I would ask them, so how was it, from the police? And every time the answer is, oh, I caught a couple guys that I've been looking for. But there wasn't any trouble. There's, and it is the people that attend.
Yeah.
One of my factoids, I think, is how many people fit in the stadium? 50,000 roughly?
Yeah,
right?
around
I think
there.
so, yeah.
I think there are easily 150 to 200,000 people on when we have good weather along the parade route. So
Yeah.
2 or 3 more times the people in the stadium actually are watching the parade live.
Yeah.
And every TV station carries it now. So, sorry, I got a little tickle.
You're fine.
To see the people on the streets watching, the people that are in it, of course, are just like gonzo with
Stoked.
joy.
Yeah.
The people on the sides, the tiniest to the oldest, it doesn't matter what color, what race, what socioeconomic background you have.
Yeah.
They're all there,
Yep.
mingled together, just celebrating baseball
Yeah.
and the coming of spring in Cincinnati.
Yeah, it is a very like peaceful environment. I've been going since I was little, taken out of school. I'm sure everybody has,
Yeah.
right?
Wink, wink.
You're sick, and you go down the parade every year. What do you think it will take for the city? A hot take right here. Will it take for the city to officially make it a holiday to get more people down? Do you think that'll ever happen?
I think it should.
Yeah.
I'm
I
honestly
think it should.
surprised it isn't already. Because I feel like some years it falls on spring break for Cincinnati Public Schools.
Right.
Most times people, it's like an unofficial holiday. I think
We're at the mercy of Major League Baseball as to
well,
when it
that's
happens.
very true.
Right.
And they
Yes.
screwed us over on that one, talking about the Reds get to play the first game. Well, now all the teams, first opening day is the same for every team.
Right.
The only privilege I understand that we still have as being the oldest team is that we get to play at home
Yeah.
Yes.
for the first game, except for that year that we had this sort of stripe, and it's the strike screwed up the schedule.
Yeah.
That year, we didn't get to have our opening day at home.
Yeah.
But that's the only honor. And I will tell you that I remember one of your questions was about, what about other cities? So I'm jumping ahead here a minute.
Yeah, go for it.
Other cities don't do anything from what I gather. They
Yeah.
don't do anything. I mean,
Yeah.
they get excited about opening day maybe, but Major League Baseball didn't even really quite, the people that work in the headquarters didn't really quite get it. So they kind of invited themselves to come. And I think that was the year that we made Commissioner the parade marshal.
The Grand
The
Marshal.
Grand
Yeah, the Grand Marshal of the Parade, yeah.
And he was impressed,
Yeah.
justifiably so.
Yeah.
He had no idea that this went on.
Yeah.
And one year, when the All-Star game was going to be in Cincinnati, they came and met with our committee to find out, because apparently there's some little tiny parade that happens before All-Star games. They literally put red carpet on the street from whatever hotel the guys are staying at to the stadium they're playing at. And there's, whatever car company is their sponsor that year.
Yeah.
They put all the team in those cars and take them to the stadium. When we told them all the stuff we did, they were just like, well, we can't do that. We can't do that. So, but they wanted to learn, and I thought that was cool that they were open to at least listening.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it would be fun.
baseball runs deep in this city, sports in general, right? But
Yeah.
baseball especially, I think when you talk to other people from other cities or states and you say, oh, opening day, I can't work.
Yeah.
Like I'm off
Yeah.
work that day. Like, it's just a game.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's a way of life. It's a big deal.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot goes on down here in Cincinnati for that.
Yeah.
What are some key moments that either you've been a part of or that you've read about in your research from opening day parades? Some like really cool moments that could possibly never happen again, based on whatever. But just what are some things that you've seen?
I think the first thing that pops into my head is the elephants.
Yeah.
The elephants. There used to be live elephants from the zoo in the parade walking down the streets of Cincinnati. And I just think that's insane.
That's
like,
crazy.
it's so cool, but also nowadays there's no way we could have an
Well,
elephant.
Marge
walking
Schott was the owner
That's
of
right.
the Reds at
Yes.
the time, and she was a huge supporter of the Cincinnati Zoo.
Yeah.
So she was able to make that happen. And that's when the stadium was not the same stadium we have now. And they literally walked on the field.
That's so
They-
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went on the
And
field, which is
we-
nuts.
Yeah, it would have been cool. This year, we are going to have, I don't know if you've seen these or not, but back in the day, the Natural History Museum was where Channel 9 is now.
Yeah.
And there were statues of elephants in the front yard. They're going to be in the parade.
That's
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
that will be
Statues have been
cool.
in storage
Yes. I
at the
totally-
museum, the museum center, and
Yeah.
they're pulling them out, putting them on wheels, and they're going to.
Yeah, so we'll have a little
They'll be in
nod
the
to
parade.
that.
Yeah, I love that it
which will
pays
be
homage
really
to the
cool.
past, but still bringing it to the future.
Yeah.
And it still gives that feeling, like you said, of Marge Schott
Yeah.
and pays homage to her. Like,
Yeah.
what an incredible thing. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
That'll be super cool. I think another awesome thing in my tenure, my short tenure here with the committee, was last year we had Jim Scott as our honorary Grand Marshal.
Yeah.
And Jim Scott was a longtime 700 WLW radio personnel, also the spokesperson, the unofficial/official spokesperson of the Findlay Market opening day parade, just super involved in the city of Cincinnati and in the parade. And last year we were able to have him as the honorary Grand Marshal. We got him this really cool convertible, and him and his wife and their son were able to be in the parade. And as you kind of walked down the parade route, you just saw so many, like, "We love you, Jim Scott"
that's cool.
posters, and just as we were walking down, like, it gives me chills thinking about it. It was so
And the year
sweet.
before, he had walked the entire
Yes.
route.
Yeah.
Yep. And wasn't that every year he walked the whole route?
Oh,
with
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was supposed to ride with, with Kroger's because he was a spokesperson for Kroger's or whoever, whatever.
Yeah.
And but yeah, he would end up walking. The
Yeah.
route.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I know one of my moments is when you touched on already, your first year. I've gone opening day parade every year since I was 1.
Yeah.
Oh
And I know, crazy, right? The year they won the World Series was the first parade I went to, 1990.
That's so cool.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I had an ice cream hat on my head.
Yeah.
So They do to little
awesome,
kids.
though. Yeah.
But the COVID parade, the
Yes.
fact that it was
Yep.
still, I think everybody in Cincinnati was so heartbroken
Yeah.
that
Oh,
we
yeah.
couldn't have the parade that year due to COVID. But to be out walking, I live downtown, walking and just happened to see it.
Yeah.
It brought me so much joy in that
Yeah.
moment of like,
We weren't
what's
allowed to
gonna
announce
happen?
it because they didn't want crowds to show up.
Yeah.
That's
But-
right.
And just a few weeks prior to that, I had been, because my name was on the parade permit application, invited to meet with the city manager about how we were going to handle sanitation and how many hand washing stations we were going to have and how were we going to protect Marty Brenneman.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I'm
Yes.
seriously, his
Yeah.
name came up in that, and
Yeah.
it was like so cool. And within a week or two after that, it was canceled.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but that was really beautiful what you guys did. I think the people that saw it and even the people that saw it online, it gave them a ray of hope in such a dark
Yeah,
time that
exactly.
you don't know what's going to happen. And that was a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, a little bit of normalcy. Just
Yeah.
even one fire truck's worth.
Yeah, and people loved it.
We invited this guy because Kevin remembered this guy had done from a school in Kentucky, further away in Kentucky. I forget what city, sorry. But he had tricked out this golf cart. So there was a golf cart with all kinds of Reds memorabilia on it. And I think one of his students, or a couple of his students, that rode this down. So we invited him to come back and
Nice.
participate in this, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Our mini
Our
parade.
mini parade.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he brought me a clock that's made to look like the scoreboard at Crosley Field
Cool.
from the very last game played at Crosley Field.
How cool.
And
That's
it's
super
in my
cool.
store. It's up on the shelf in my store. And I was tempted to give it to one of the guys, and I was like, no, I was
No.
at that game.
Yeah.
My dad said, this is historic. He managed to get tickets, and me and my sisters and my mom and dad all went to that game.
Wow.
And the thing I remember most about it was when it was all over, they dug up home plate. You know how deep home plate is?
I actually have no idea.
I have no idea
It's
either.
about
I know.
8 or 10 feet. It's a
Oh,
pole that goes down
wow.
and then like a boat anchor on the bottom. There was serious heavy equipment operations being done to dig that out. And then a helicopter lifted out and took it down to the new stadium.
Oh, cool.
That's so
I had
So
cool.
no
I'm
idea.
not giving that clock up.
Yeah, no,
Keep
yours.
that.
That
That's
is yours.
Yeah, that is like
Totally yours.
a sign from the ether, like this was meant for you.
Yeah.
Now back to the parade. Like how long does it take to plan this? What goes into it? Do you start right after the first, like this year's parade is done? Will you start on next year? Like tell me about the timeline.
We do a little bit of a recap meeting. But
Yeah, I
then
wish we were more organized. about that.
we're working on it.
Yeah,
we're
it's
working
hard.
on it.
But yeah, in the middle of the summer, we start talking about stuff. By October, November, we're hard at contacting people that we really want to make sure are in the parade again. We try to get all the schools, and because they have to do so much planning for buses and logistics and that kind of thing to make sure we
Yeah.
know which schools are going to be lined up for the marching bands.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of years ago, we had 23
Yeah, which is-
marching bands.
Wow.
3 of them were college marching bands, which we hadn't had for a long time, and the rest of them were high school marching bands.
Wow.
And what's a parade without marching bands?
Yeah, you need
know?
it. Yeah.
But we did kind of cut back on that. So this year we have 15.
Okay.
And they're all, I believe, excellent. And although I don't think we ever had a crappy marching band.
It helps keep the parade going for sure. So we usually put out the applications, November-ish,
Right.
and then we'll get together as a committee and go through the applications, and that's always fun because we've all got our favorites,
Yeah.
that we're pushing through. But it's really fun to see everybody's application, and it's also really fun to see what they kind of type as their like this is what it's going to be, and then what it is in real life. It's always really fun to see different floats and companies put together just really cool floats, like from paper to like actually happening. So it's really fun. And then I think really the crunch time is what we're in now, is from the end of January to the parade.
There's
Debbie
an
and
open
Kevin.
window of time in early January. I think we're going to open it up before Christmas this coming year for next year, where people can apply. So
Okay.
there is an open window to anybody that wants to apply, but We had over 200 applications this year.
Wow.
For what we were hoping was going to be 140 spots. I think it's at
We
160.
tried. We tried.
We have had, as she mentioned it, we've had over 200 units before. And one year, the parade didn't get done until about 20 minutes before the game was supposed to start because we didn't say no to anybody that year.
Yeah.
So the city kind of said, got to cut back on that.
cut
You
it.
got to get it done earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I was willing to start the parade at 10 o'clock instead of noon. But
I think everybody would be willing to if
I
it, yeah,
know.
just hang out and watch
Yeah.
the
that's
city.
another option.
I think
so-
everybody starts at like 9 a.m. anyways that day.
They
I won't
do.
name names, but a lot of bars on the route open up a little early. That
Oh, I
day,
remember
which
the
is
one year I
awesome.
was in the parade, and the
Yeah.
bars around there open up early and sell to-go
Yes,
beers. I will
yes,
say
yes.
that.
Yeah.
So-
Again, we shut down a little bit. Yeah, the
Yeah.
city kind of winks and turns their head to the other way.
I think, yeah, it's one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this year's parade,
Yep.
what can people expect? Like, who do you have coming? What are some big things that you guys have planned for spectators this year?
Yeah, so I think the one thing that we're super excited about that we will be revealing a few days, I'll try to keep it a little bit of a secret, but a few days before the parade, we'll be kind of doing something super special for Jim Scott again this year.
Nice.
So that will kind of help us kick off the parade. So I'll leave a little bit
Very
of a
cool.
secretive to that
Absolutely.
one. But I know we're super excited about the different marching bands coming in. And this year we have a few more horse-drawn carriages and horses in the parade than we do this year. And I know, Debbie, you were saying that one of your favorite ones for this year to see is going to be the side saddles.
Yeah. A side saddle organization, a bunch of women.
Is that new?
Actually, yeah.
That's
they're new.
cool.
And then there's the Northern Kentucky girls. So it's when you have 4 Pertrons pulling an extremely beautiful wagon, it's pretty cool. But to see a dozen individual horses with their riders and the pride that they have, and that you can tell they've taken with their animals and how they've groomed them and dressed them and their uniforms, etc. So we have 2 different organizations where they're single riders.
Oh, cool.
And
that
I
will be
really
super
like
cool.
that.
Yeah.
So.
That'll be really cool. The other one that's always a crowd favorite is the lawnmowers. I never understood that until I saw it in real life. I'm like, okay, that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's very
All the dads in
goofy.
their New Balances.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
pushing
they're just
lawnmowers.
and they just have the whole routine.
They come down from Wapakoneta.
Oh, that's
Do
right.
they really?
Yeah, it's the Wapakoneta Optimist Breakfast Club Lawnmower Drill Team.
There you go. Yeah, that one's always a super fun one to see. Yeah, and then you've got some of the larger companies that come through, and the big ones like Greater Cincinnati Waterworks has a super cool one. And the one that I really enjoyed last year was 8K Construction. They made their float, like their flatbed, was basically the buildings surrounding Findlay Market Square. So it was the facade of the buildings on each side of the market house. That was their float, and that was super cool. That was one of my favorite ones to kind of see come to life off of their application. So that one was, I'm excited to see that one again this year.
That's super cool. And then every branch of the military is represented? Almost every branch? Not every branch?
This year we've got, we always have the Army.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The 338th Army Band. And this year the Coast Guard. And that's it.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll have to make some calls prior to
Yeah.
applications being
Yeah.
sent out last year.
Yeah, we'll make some calls for you
Yeah.
next year.
I know.
But lots of motorcycle cops.
Yes.
It always starts out with, 40 or 50 motorcycle
I love
cops.
them, and they do
From
the
a whole bunch of
circles and
different-
they weave in and out.
That's a little scary.
But they come. Those are not just Cincinnati cops.
Yeah.
That's
motorcycle
right.
cops. They're from the area. But yeah,
Do you think with the age of social media that the parade will continue to grow with the age of social media and with like TikTok, Instagram Reels, pictures getting out there of what we do here in Cincinnati for opening day? Do you think that will impact the parade in some way, and what do you see happening for that?
I think for sure. I know, coming off the conversation about all the dads and the lawnmowers.
Yeah.
I remember scrolling TikTok after the parade last year, and it was all over TikTok. It was like, what is this in Cincinnati? And it was the guys with their lawnmowers. And I think, when you look and you're like, oh my gosh, there's 3 million views on this video.
Yeah.
So, that's another hilarious way that the parade was highlighted. But I think that as time goes on and social media becomes so prevalent in everyone's lives. It's really cool to see, you've got everyone filming everything. You've got folks behind the scenes doing some filming too, like from our staff perspective with the Corporation for Findlay Market. We've got our social media team as well that's kind of helping to capture the day and things like that. And it's always fun to see how many cameras are just along the parade route.
Yeah.
It is just so cool. And I think truly it just gets bigger and bigger every year. So it's been really awesome to see. And I think it'll just get bigger with, like you said, all the social media push and things like that. I feel like it can only go up for sure.
The first year that we had to limit, one of the things that did was dramatically improve the quality of the parade.
Yeah.
Because people that had been in it forever were not invited back in some cases because all they did was a dump truck. Or, I mean, seriously, sometimes it was that bad. So it improved the quality of the parade. We can't make it longer. We have to get it done in a reasonable period of time. We tie up pretty much the core business district of Cincinnati for several hours as it is. But it just has to be better and better. And I am the one that has the privilege of carrying the parade phone. So I can tell you that probably as up to maybe even 2 days before the parade, I will get a phone call saying, how do I be in the parade? Be in the parade. I'm like, well, travel back in time or wait till next year. I don't know. By that point in time, I'm not being very political.
It's a long day.
Call me back in 3 months.
So I will still be getting those kind of phone calls.
In
The next couple of weeks. And when I tell them, I'm sorry, you can't, some of them will, call the Reds office or call whoever they think they know at the Reds and
try to sneak in.
Right.
And the Reds are like, we have no part
Pretty
really
much.
in this. Yeah.
I
So
know.
sorry.
Yeah, there's only sometimes that they'll call and be like, okay, we've got to figure this out. But that's always fun because they do truly, they're kind of like hands off. They're
Which
like,
is incredible.
Yeah, it's really awesome. They're like, what do you need? You let us know what you need from us. And I think it's been a really awesome partnership, at least in my tenure here.
I haven't figured out yet who gets to choose the Grand Marshal, but it ain't us.
Yeah, that is very true.
Okay.
We pay for it.
Okay. You pay for it.
We pay for them to come to town and put them up and so forth. So,
Now for the Grand Marshal this year, are you able to share who that is?
Yeah. So the Grand Marshal this year is Chris Sabo.
Okay.
So he was a part of the 1990s World Series team. And he's also famously known for wearing his rec specs.
Yeah.
So I ordered a pair off Amazon just so that I could wear them. But we're excited. So so he's going to be our Grand Marshal this year. So everybody will be able to see him waving and coming down, kind of celebrating that 35th anniversary of that team that year is a big thing for this season for the Reds. So
I
it'll be
feel
really
like there's
fun.
a lot happening this season with the Reds. Kicking off with opening day, you have I think it's the 50th year of 1975, like or 76, Big Red Machine, 30 years. I mean, 35 years. It's crazy. All of this in 1 year, plus the first game in Tennessee at the Bristol Speedway this year is happening.
Oh, that's right.
So there's so many things happening with the Reds, and you
we
guys,
got a new manager.
Yeah, new manager.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yeah.
A lot of people are pretty hyped about that guy.
Yeah.
Me too. The video that they put out definitely brought a tear to my
video.
eye. Got chills. I'm like, please, come on. We need it.
I know. It would be really nice to have a winning team this year.
Yeah.
Either way. Either way,
Ellie's fun to watch.
Yes. 100% very fun. Yeah.
Either way, I mean, the city's so behind this team. They're behind the parade. They want success, and even until July, if they're not even winning until July, people are still there
going to the games.
People are still going to the games.
Yes.
It's a good family environment. Even the parade, if you've never been to the parade, you need to take your kids out of school.
Yes.
Write a sick note. I will write a sick note for your kids.
Yes, I know. We can sign it.
Yeah, Findlay Market will sign it. We'll get your kid out to come check it out, because it really is such a family-friendly environment. And it does instill that pride in Cincinnati and Cincinnati sports to go down and be a part of it. And for those that aren't a part of it, it's not the same kind of feeling when you grow up as when you were a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as Debbie was saying earlier, it truly brings everyone out. I mean, you look into the crowd and you see somebody from every single walk of life. Yeah. And everyone's just there to celebrate and be one, even if just for the day. Yeah. So it's really fun and awesome to be a part of.
I love that. Now, before we head out, do you guys want to plug the date, time of the parade? best places to watch the parade?
Yeah.
Like, where do you recommend people watch? Because I have my spot.
Yeah.
I'm sure other people do,
Do you want
but
to share it? Or
I don't know. I kind of
I
keep
think you might want to keep it secret.
keep a little secret. I like where our spot
Yeah.
is. The whole family comes
Let
down.
me throw out one thing that we didn't either. It wasn't available. There's a big parking garage now, really close to Findlay Market. So if people are
Yes.
looking for a place to park,
Yeah.
to watch the parade, and it's right on the edge of the whole staging area that we block off a lot of streets. But the entrance to the parking garage is from Central Parkway.
Yes.
And it's clearly labeled
Yep.
Findlay Market parking.
Yep.
And so I think that's something that will give people a starting point, and then they can choose their spot. I'm gonna let you take.
Yeah.
Where do you think they should go?
No, I like that because I think you
Yeah.
should. If you've never been to the parade or
Yep.
you're looking for a place to park just for the parade, park at Findlay Market, watch the staging area because it's a parade and an art and a show in itself.
It's nuts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Putting
to
those floats together in the lineup is something that's like magic to me.
We
to
take
watch.
over what? It's like 5 blocks by 5 blocks, and it's all stuff going on.
And we've got now we're at almost 100 parade marshals, 100 volunteer
Wow.
parade marshals that come and
Wow.
help kind of navigate and get everybody in their perfect spot. And one of our committee members, Erin, she's amazing with measuring and making sure each float is in the correct amount of feet that it needs to be on the street. It's insane. I don't know how she does it, but she takes Google Maps and she's like, okay, New Riff is here, Waterworks is here, Findlay Market's float is here, and all of that information is sent out to all of the floats prior to. We have walkies, we have golf carts, we have safety vests, and we just get everybody in place. And then 12 o'clock, it just works. It's so incredible. It's really cool. But I think with the viewing area, that's a tough one. I feel like I always have to plug Washington Park or Fountain Square, but those are kind of the busiest ones. So you've got, Washington Park does a great job of having family-friendly activities there that you can kind of do as you're the morning of the parade, and then you kind of line the streets. Fountain Square, same way. They've got kind of like the Reds rally that's always been held there. But I don't know. I think anywhere really kind of south on Race as the parade starts turning is a good spot. But really there's no bad spot in the house when it comes to this parade because it's a long parade in both, it's like the time frame and of the actual blocks that we go down.
Yeah.
So I think there's really, there's no bad place.
How many blocks do you guys cover?
I don't know, but it's like it's just a tinge under a mile and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, so it starts at the corner of Race and Liberty, and then goes down Race, takes a left on 5th, and kind of ends at Taft.
Okay.
Yeah, like right in front of the PNG Tower.
Okay.
So however many blocks that is. I feel like we should know this off the top.
A lot.
of our
No,
heads.
I just was curious. After you said that, I didn't know.
Yeah, mile and a half. That's crazy.
So the viewing area anywhere south of Race, but ultimately Washington Park.
Yep. Washington Park,
Fountain
Fountain Square.
Square.
I think those are the two big ones for sure. I know a lot of folks are kind of the Central Parkway as well. I think people kind of line that spot from as we're crossing on Race Street. Crossing that one is a good one too.
Oh, yeah.
But then you look up to
And
and you
Liberty,
see everybody.
well, it starts at
in their
Liberty, Debbie.
offices. I know.
Yeah.
Streets are.
The offices and apartment buildings up
it's
top,
fun to
looking
see
down at you.
Yeah, people have parties like on the
Yeah,
roof.
I know a
and-
guy that lives like overlooking Washington Park, and he has a party every year. And I'm like, man, I'd love to come. He's got balconies where he's on the 2nd or 3rd floor, and perfect.
One of
vantage
these days
point.
when you retire, you can park your golf cart in front of his house and go to their party.
You'll still be calling her when she retires. You're
that
like,
parade
come on,
phone is
Grandma
gonna
Debbie.
stay with Grandma
I know.
Debbie.
You're
I
like,
do not want that.
it's yours to keep when you retire. Just answer it and please help us every year.
Yeah.
Well, I have retired from my store.
Yes.
I keep saying my store because I started it, but my daughter-in-law and my youngest son run it now.
Why don't you plug your store?
Yeah.
For 3 years now, Grandma Debbie's Kitchen has been under the tender loving care of my daughter-in-law Tasha and my son Tom Gannaway. I started it back in 2010, and then, because I got involved with the parade when I was still with my other son at Kroger and Sons. Anyway, Grandma Debbie's Kitchen, come and see us. We have all kinds of things that are super easy to quick and fix, or super easy to just warm up and eat, and
and
Come
the
and see
chicken
us.
salad selection.
I
10
know.
Incredible.
different kinds
10
of
different chicken salads. It's incredible.
And if you're
And you
lucky-
can get a sleeve of Ritz too.
And if you're
so
lucky,
it's like
Grandma
grab and
Debbie's
go.
there and like,
Yes,
she'll be like,
yeah.
hey, what's up?
I'm there every weekend.
I know, I see all the time.
Yeah.
So the parade starts at noon, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So Thursday, March 27th, it kicks off at noon. Like I said, the whole city starts coming alive after about 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So we'll be so everyone will be out there, but it kicks off officially at Liberty and Race at noon with some Rosie's fireworks, and then it just goes, and then we're there, and the game starts I think at 4:10 that day.
Yeah,
So
4,
we've
yeah.
got. We again try to keep the parade under about 2 hours, so
Nice.
it's a good time for everybody, and everybody just kind of descends on the banks after that.
Nice.
The mission is to get the last unit to go past Fountain Square at 2 o'clock.
Okay. Just get
Fingers
everybody moving down. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And rain or shine, right?
Rain or shine,
Right.
snow or sleet, we will be there.
Thunder and lightning probably will stop us,
Yeah,
but
but
Yeah.
that's not going to
Other than
happen.
that.
Mother
Yeah.
Nature is on our side for this parade.
Every year I feel like
Most
Mother
years,
Nature
yeah.
is.
some good weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say
One of my-
Cincinnati
somewhat.
Public Schools are on spring break, so
Nice.
all those kids will be there.
Yeah, it'll be super fun.
Well, I'm very excited. And thank you both for coming
Thank
out.
you for
It was
having us.
Yes.
so much fun to talk to you about one of my favorite holidays. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Salt and Cincy. I want to thank our sponsor, Zach Hubbard of Hubbard Home Loans. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.